Hi, and welcome to Mid-South Viewpoint. I'm Byron Tyler, and I made my way to Branson in the beautiful Ozarks, one of the most exciting places to bring your family. And for the next 3 days, we're going to do our Mid-South Viewpoint program from this location. Our Bot Radio Network has a radio station here in Branson. Last year it didn't work out so good.
It didn't work out, but we persevere.
Lynn Berry is the Director of Communications for the Branson Chamber of Commerce. And Lynn, we have been sidekicks now for how long?
It's been years and years, Byron. I'm so happy to say, and we are always glad to see you come to Branson.
Of course, you are, as I always say, the first lady of Eureka Springs. Butch, your husband,
That's correct.
is the mayor.
That's right.
How are things going in the sleepy town of Eureka, which is not too sleepy?
They are going as well as they are in Branson, Missouri, I'm happy to say. And so folks are enjoying getaways to the Ozark Mountains, and we are blessed in both little tourist towns.
Tell me about Branson right now and the opportunities for our Mid-South area families to come and enjoy Branson and the surrounding Ozarks.
Oh, my goodness, it is time to celebrate. It is time to celebrate family, and the best way to do that is to plan a trip to Branson, because we have something that everyone is going to enjoy, and here comes Christmas.
Hey, this is like one of the most wonderful times of the year, in the words of the late Mr. Andy Williams,
That's
Mr. Christmas.
Right. That's right. Andy said it the best, and it really is. We have so much to choose from, from our fantastic music shows to our incredible theme park, Silver Dollar City, and of course, one of my favorite things is to get up on the Ferris wheel and see it all from above.
Wow, we're talking about the magnificent Branson Ferris wheel.
That's right.
From the Navy Pier in Chicago. Craig Westcott and his family, by 18 tractor trailer loads, I believe, Craig, maybe
26, but who's counting?
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
We counted.
Yeah.
Craig Westcott is with the Branson Tracks, and he is here. And of course, Craig, without the Ferris wheel, okay, that's like the cherry on top. But without the Ferris wheel, the tracks are one of the highlights for families. My kids love go-karts, and I have to say, I love go-karts too. And we get a little competitive, Miss Lynn,
right.
when we get in those go-karts.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
We call that the go-kart effect, because it makes the kids feel all grown up because they can drive, and then it makes you probably, as you get in that go-kart, act like a kid again, and it's got this very nice effect in that way.
It does, and of course, Miss Lynn mentioned the great Ferris wheel, but I mean, this is going on 40 years now that you have a staff. I can't believe it's been. You've got your two kids, you were telling me, one is in Baylor and one is in another university in Georgia. They grow up.
Yeah. They grew up kind of like I was a kid, just birthday parties and just, it was like for us to be able to just kind of go out there whenever we wanted. What a dream kid experience,
Right.
So 40 years, just hard to believe. My dad got the party started with his original partner. 1981 Memorial Day, we celebrated this year, and what was seen to be maybe, especially as bankers, as a 1 or 2 year fad, we've just tried to make better and better experiences for families for 40 years now.
Every entrepreneur, when they're looking to start a business, they have a business model, business plan. What was that model and plan for your family in the Tracks?
Well, I think in the early days when it actually worked, that first one, and they had to stop selling tickets at 2 a.m. with a long line because the neighbors were complaining, literally. It's like, okay, this is going to work. So then I think back then, a little bit different town, not quite as many visitors, but like a 2-lane road with no center lane. And anyway, they figured out, long story short, that we could build one every so often and kind of have X number of hotel rooms around each location and just do it here. There's lots of people that go to other communities and you're managing from afar and all that. My dad and his team always wanted to just be right here and be able to drive down the road. So ultimately they built 5 locations. We operate 3 currently.
And that's what I love, Miss Lynn, about Branson is the family.
That's right.
Like Craig, you just mentioned, a lot of people come in. Of corporate comes in and establishes a theme park or some type of amusement or attraction, and they manage it from New York City.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's not the case here.
That's right. No, we've it's been just a great. I mean, all the families. I mean, we call ourselves Track Family, and a lot of our folks have been here in our leadership for 20 plus years, and so they're like family. And we've all been through it all together, and we've all watched our kids grow up and head into different chapters of life, and ultimately what we're trying to do is give an experience for families. And COVID, as you guys talked about, messed some things up last year. It was people were just craving that time with each other, and we were primarily outdoors, and so we were able to kind of keep, once we got back open, try to just provide something that everybody was looking for, something normal, and it felt really normal, and so it worked out well.
I like the word you just used, normal, because having gone through, and we still want to be careful, we want to be safe, obviously. Coming here to Branson, and I got in last night, Miss Lynn, I started feeling normal again when I came into town.
Good.
Just watching people and how they were interacting, with their activities, and there's some normal coming back.
When we get toward Christmas, underneath that Ferris wheel is going to be the real family normal Christmas. Why don't you tell us what's coming?
Oh, what's coming back?
Yeah.
For instance? Yeah.
Second year in a row.
So the ice rink, we've partnered with a company. It's really a family, and it's called the Holidays on Ice, and we had them in last year. And very short notice, they actually COVID is what kept them from going to another very Christmassy town in the Northwest. And we decided to, we stood in a parking lot, very long story short, and shook hands. And 3 weeks later, three semis, not 26 this time, but three semis came in from Washington State and brought this rink. And the Yackee family, just a lovely family from California that just fell in love with Missouri. Boy, they worked their tails off to put something really neat together with the ice rink. So it was year number one in very short notice, and I think we did something really great, and the whole just felt like a Christmas village in a sense with the ice rink, the Ferris wheels all decorated, of course, and all those things. So now we go to version 2 this year, and we're hoping to make it a real tradition. We might not be able to keep the Yackee, Rich and Wendy, the Yackee family, out of here.
Craig, are we talking about a real live ice rink?
So yes, boy, it's a labor of love. It's no wonder some people use synthetic ice, because to go in and build that ice and keep it maintained, and Rich, that's his baby. The ice is his baby. So it's real ice. It's with
real skates,
layers and layers of water made into so many inches of ice, and real skates, and cold feel just like it's supposed to be.
But how big is that ice rink, Mr. Westcott?
It is about 7,200 square feet.
Oh my!
Which is the same size as the Rockefeller Center ice rink.
How about that?
So it's not. There's rinks like everything.
So you're bringing New York style ice skating
York
experience. You're bringing Chicago through the Ferris wheel.
We grab a little here and there and bring the flavor to town.
We'll have it.
Excited about that. That's going to open mid-November, probably November 12th or so. It depends on Rich. What they also learned about is Missouri weather, and they've had literally ice rinks on beaches, but when weather conditions are just right. I learned a whole lot last year about wind and the things that really affect it the most. And boy, we even had a tornado warning last year. And Rich, these aren't things they were used to. And, but they, so the 12th, and it just depends on how the weather is those evenings when he's building that ice up.
Also, we got to mention the newest attraction, of course, at the tracks is the skyscraper. 80 feet tall. Miss Lynn, have you done that yet?
Well, I know, but I have witnessed many other Branson stars doing it.
It's kind of opposite. It's about, so it peaks, it like a windmill kind of, it peaks about 20 feet higher technically than the Ferris wheel. But the difference is you're kind of on that leisurely Ferris wheel ride, and a little part of history with the Old Navy Pier and all that, and just taking in the great Branson views. And on the skyscraper, you're going Oh, it's the effect is kind of like a fighter pilot would feel in
my.
certain maneuvers in there. It's moving. It's 50 miles an hour, whatever it is, but it's moving. So it's for the high thrill. You want the leisurely, you head to the Ferris wheel, and that's what Lynn goes.
You say leisurely, the Ferris wheel. Now, one of the things I don't enjoy about most Ferris wheels is that, you do your ride and then they stop to get you off. This Ferris wheel is continually moving.
Correct.
I mean, you've got time to safely get off, right?
Yes. Yeah, it was built. I mean, the way that ride is really supposed to operate is like it does. That's how Chicago did it for 20 years. It's slow. It's kind of like getting on a ski lift or something. It's
an escalator.
Yeah. I mean, we can stop it, of course, when folks need help and assistance. Happy to do that, but generally, it's just rolling along, and it's going slow enough for you to step right on.
Is this a gondola? You're inside a car? What do you call the actual
gondola? And it's and it holds 6 people. And I think one difference between, for instance, the one that Chicago put in is it's heated and it has all that, which is kind of nice in Chicago, I think. But it's closed in. So here you still have some open air. You're safely in a gondola, but it's still open air, and you're feeling that wind and all of that, where I think in Chicago on most days you didn't really want to feel that wind up 150 feet tall, but here it's good, and it's really nice. It's a nice, relaxing ride, and sometimes people, they think Ferris wheel, like they think back to the old days and rickety and whatever, and this one is just there's points that you feel like it stopped for some reason, and it's moving, but it's just smooth. It's very smooth. It's built into our Ozark rock
it's solid.
Very
it's
solid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Craig, after 40 years, what excites you most about daily waking up and going to the tracks? The stories you hear from families, maybe relationships you have built with families years ago that continue to come back to Branson and the tracks.
Yes, I would say that's one of them. Is 40 years now, you're getting into definitely multiple generations, and the parents are saying, boy, I used to come here when I was a kid, and you're almost to like grandparents, almost to that point, somewhat. And I think that's, as much as things change and technology changes and all that, like at the end of the day, it's still great that people just want to come and have fun and get a little competitive juices in a family style way flowing and do that. So we keep evolving, and the wheel, like you said, was kind of a cherry on top, and we've got plenty more to come for next year. Not ready to really talk about it yet, but
the lights on the wheel are amazing.
Oh yeah,
and the music that's synced to.
Yes,
I mean, you can just go and grab you an Andy's.
It's been done before.
That's the
It's
plan.
been done before. Yeah, it's it really is it's great for that. So it's an icon in town, and it's it just, whether you're sitting there eating your Andes or you're on there riding and you didn't know it was from Chicago or whatever, it's a great.
Or if you got nachos from your place.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're excited about the future. We have some new financial partners, and that's going to allow us to really do some things we've always wanted to do. And again, not ready to announce all that yet, but
Can't wait.
but this Christmas season with the ice rink, we're very excited for the future of that. Even I think, again, that's just going to continue to grow into a Christmas village where you can take a helicopter ride and go look at Christmas lights, all the way to ride on the wheel and look down on the ice rink. It's a picturesque setting for,
my goodness.
for all of it. And then, of course, the community tree is right next to that.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to all that coming right up.
Yeah,
we're already decorating. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
You're suddenly decorating for Christmas. Yeah. I don't know if Andy Williams thought that in Most Wonderful Time of the Year that we'd be decorating in October for Christmas.
I think they're selling trees at Walmart now, right?
So, no doubt.
So it's okay.
Yeah, especially here.
Craig Westcott with the Branson Tracks. Go to the website, bransontracks.com, and learn about all the exciting things about the skyscraper 80 feet tall in the air and the thrill it'll give you, the Branson Ferris wheel, the Christmas celebration, all at the Branson Tracks, bransontracks.com. Craig, thanks so much for stopping by.
Absolutely. We appreciate it.
Miss Lynn, you've been there.
I have been there. And
she's been there with us for the long haul.
That's right, and wouldn't trade it for all the tea in China. I mean it. We have entrepreneurs in our community that have made Branson I mean, we started out at Silver Dollar City with a hole in the ground. And then, if you think about the incredible opportunities that we've had with our live music shows all throughout our community, there are so many different venues, from tiny little 50-seat venues to some that are more than 2,000 seats and absolutely gorgeous inside and out. And you know which one I'm talking about?
Tell me.
Sight and Sound Theater.
Cynthia Carson is here. Cynthia, welcome to Bot Radio Network, and welcome to our Mid-South Viewpoint program coming from Branson to our friends in Memphis. I'm Byron Tyler. For those just tuning in and wondering what's going on Bot Radio Network in Memphis, I'm here with Lynn Berry from the Branson Chamber of Commerce, and we're just having a great time these next 3 days here in Branson, and want you, friend, to learn how you can have a wonderful, incredible time as we move into fall, of course, but in Christmas and any time of the year is a great time for Branson. And everything we're talking about, too, you can go to explorebranson.com, and learn more. Cynthia, I haven't seen you. How long has it been?
It's been too long, Byron, but thank you so much for having us here. And Lynn, it's always a joy being with you and sharing about our amazing town that we have here.
Well, from the bustling streets of Jerusalem to the raging Sea of Galilee, Jesus is an action-packed musical stage adventure for the whole family at Sight and Sound Theater here in Branson. We're going to talk about that. Cynthia, you are the Vice President of Branson Operations at Sight and Sound Theaters, along with the General Manager. Any other titles you have? I mean, I've actually seen you pick some paper up off the floor in the theater, too.
There you go.
So you're like a jack of all trades.
Well, we get to be a part of a team, that's for sure. And I'm telling you, Byron, without having the team that we have at that theater, we couldn't do what we get to do. So I'm so proud of, over 250 employees there at Sight and Sound Theaters to help see this amazing production come to life.
Mm-hmm. How long, Cynthia, have you been associated with Sight and Sound Theaters?
Well, I've had the privilege of helping open up the theater in 2008 of May. We opened here in Branson. So been there with them. And yes, it's just a joy to have a lot of our team players, they've been here for quite some time. We have a lot of longevity.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember the very first Sight and Sound Theater performance you saw?
I absolutely do. And for me personally, it was actually out in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania.
Of course.
Yeah, Daniel was my very first one, and Sarah and Abraham. Just a joy to see. My first one was actually on a DVD, Ruth. And I just love the story of Ruth. But, to see the talent and even to see where Sight and Sound has grown from those original, early shows to what we put on now.
Oh, my goodness.
Amazing.
Well, it all started over 40 years ago on a dairy farm in rural county, Lancaster, where your founder, Glenn Eshelman, was so inspired by the beauty of the world around him as he began painting landscapes as a boy. And it's amazing how those paintings of landscapes to creating the type of stage performances centered around the Bible that you do, where the Bible truly comes to life. I mean, I don't think Glenn's been on the show before.
Yes, he has.
And I don't think in his wildest imagination that he would have thought he and Miss Shirley would have imagined that God would do what he's done through the work of Sight and Sound Theater.
Isn't that kind of cool that we don't know really all of those things? Because then I think sometimes we'd hold ourselves back out of fear maybe.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
But it's so exciting that when you're open and willing to go, Lord, what is the next step? Where do you want us to go? And,
yes.
And honestly, when they opened up in 76,
right.
That wasn't right.
19.
It was 1976 when they opened up, and had Noah as their first big featured production. I mean, they would have never dreamt of where it would go. And even to know that we'd be in Branson, Missouri in 2008,
Oh my.
to know where we are today.
That's right.
And with the production of Jesus, oh my goodness, I mean, what a story.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, those four Gospels comes to life on stage. And I've seen it via my home because of COVID.
Sure.
Yes.
You did a release nationwide at Easter time. How much typically, Cynthia, research, storyboarding, meetings, rehearsals, costume and stage design, light, sound design, special effects, not to mention the live animal training, before a Bible production is actually brought to a live audience?
Yes, over 3.5 years does it take from conception of the story. Obviously, we have the greatest book to take our stories from, but when we take that and we put them into dramatic form, 3.5 years with amazing group of people, lots of people, between all the production side of it,
the
music, everything,
casting.
Majority of all of it's all done in-house also. So we have, just God has given some people, talents and abilities that they're able to use in our organization, unlike any I've ever met.
What about auditions for performers to join Sight and Sound? How often do you do that?
Well, every production, they do have new auditions. So they had auditioned earlier in this year for our show next year, and then contracts were just released. And so now we know who our cast will be for our productions next year.
Okay. Now, am I correct in saying that Jesus will continue into 2022?
That is correct. We're so excited to say that we are going to run it a second year. That's always the decision. How long can you run a show? So we have decided Jesus will run. We'll open back up March 5th and run that until October 8th. And then we will be taking the show down on that evening, October 8th. Everybody's waiting in the wings with hard hats on, and we start that production of Changeover.
Oh, my.
And then we'll bring our Christmas production on next November, of Miracle of Christmas. We'll come back to stage.
It is.
Yes.
Cynthia, what have you learned over the years working with Sight and Sound about your relationship with Christ, working with an organization like Sight and Sound, and get to work with the people that you do?
That's a wonderful thing to say. No matter, or ask, wherever we are, I think God has called us to do our very, very best. He's called us to do our work as if we're doing it unto the Lord. So whether I'm in a ministry or I'm working for the chamber,
That's right.
we are to do our very best. But with Sight and Sound, we have the ability to encourage, to train, to help each other know what God has called each of us to be. We are all created in His image. And so therefore, who am I in Christ first is what matters, not necessarily what skill I bring to the table, but who am I in Christ. So I get to share that all the time. And our culture and the way we share and grow and help encourage each other is all based on, that principle of.
Do you recommend buying tickets before coming to Branson if you're planning to see Sight and Sound?
That's always a good thing to do, is jump on our website, sight-sound.com, and check out any of the shows and availability. It
varies because sometimes we're very busy.
We are. And Lynn, as you know, within our town, it fluctuates season to season. And obviously COVID has changed some of booking patterns. And but I would definitely, you want a certain seat, you want a certain area, please book in advance. And they can do that easily right on the website.
Any seat in the theater, as you mentioned, Miss Lynn, an incredible theater, but any seat you have is excellent. I mean, there's not a bad seat in the house. And I learned that when I went to Lancaster for the premiere of Samson.
Oh, yes.
And I saw behind the scenes on how you guys have these special computers that let you look in the seat of every guest there so that the guests can see without any interruption. It's amazing what you guys do. They think of everything at Sight and Sound.
Absolutely.
Well, again, the website to get tickets, to learn more about all of the productions for Sight and Sound, where the Bible comes to life, sight-sound.com, sight-sound.com. And if you've got friends in the Lancaster area, I'm telling you, this is equally as wonderful experience. I'm a little partial to Branson, but I will have to say that if you're in the area of Lancaster, you want to stop by there too.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
And Queen Esther is there for the last season. So just a couple more months of Queen Esther and a must-see show.
Beautiful.
Cynthia, it's always great to see you. Thanks so much for being part of our time here in Branson and sharing. Merry Christmas to you early.
Why, thank you. It's so great seeing you, Byron.
Celebrate
Thanks
the
for having
seasons
us.
we do. Well, Lynn, I think this first program we did with Cynthia and Craig from the Tracks has been incredible. We've got more. We got 2 more days, right?
That's right, we do. And more things to talk about, because we're going to talk about shows. We're going to talk a little bit more about Christmas, because in Branson, Christmas starts November 1st.
It does. You got to, squeeze everything, enjoy it.
That's right.
But because there's so much to do when you come, you want to make sure if you go to Silver Dollar City, if you go to the Ferris wheel or wherever you go to Sight and Sound, you want to make sure, to smell those almonds.
Oh, absolutely.
That's my
What a treat
downfall.
at Christmas time anyway, right? Or any
exactly.
time.
You gotta
That's
go.
right. It's a treat.
But you can learn about everything we're talking about by going to the website explorebranson.com. Explorebranson.com. That's a great way to go, right? And
It is the best way to go to get your information.
I mean, we're talking shows, we're talking about restaurants, we're also talking about hotels.
Lodging, attractions, everything that there is to do. We even have a page called Things to Do.
Like you really need that.
I can add a few more.
Yeah, we can keep adding. Well, friends, thank you for joining us on this Mid-South Viewpoint program, coming to you from Branson, Missouri, my second home. I love coming to Branson, and I encourage you to learn more at explorebranson.com. Be sure and join us on Wednesday and Thursday, 3 o'clock, right here on Mid-South Viewpoint for more from Branson. I'm Byron Tyler for Miss Lynn Berry. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.